All right. Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon and Threat Assessment Part 2. Okay, so one example I use is these people who rescue alligators. And they love them. They love taking care of them. They love playing with them. Not my cup of tea, but real shout out to them. I mean, these people are something else. This guy here impressed. I mean, it's not a show. His channel is Gator Boys. Okay, and that's her boss, and that guy will put on fins, a snorkel, not a scuba rig, just a snorkel, a mask, and dive into a pond where he knows there's a 10-foot, 12-foot alligator, and bring it out. Just okay. Threat assessment. Shout out to them guys. Just and maybe the YouTube will use this as a thumbnail. Who knows? But anyway, so where I want to go from there is to some things that I had said about threat assessment. Okay. So where I started off with was right here. This is pulled out of an email from many years ago. And so I started to set it up to screen shoot it. Well, then I tried to make it bigger, and then I was like, well, that's not big enough. So, all right. So now we're getting somewhere. So I want to read this because it's odd, but this love matters. The reprimand, and I took it very well. I mean, I deservedly, I was tired and, hadn't gotten enough sleep for 3 or 4 days in a row and just not rested. Anyway, I do videos. I'm human. I speak my heart. I speak my mind. Somebody else gave me a hard time one time about saying something about a woman, and I was like, hey, man, woman doesn't make any difference, Stupid is stupid, so, just deal with it. And we need to try to not, I've made the point before too about, whatever it is, East Coast, West Coast, unbiblical stuff, get a shovel. You're commanded in Torah and the Old Testament to bury your excrement. And, there's a lot of people bringing excrement here to the Ozark Plateau. I would suggest burying it where you come from. And some people have not done that. There's way too much of it here. And it's getting kind of deep. So that's all I'm going to say on that subject. So anyway, but it brought me, I mentioned Nova, and I also mentioned Marjorie Wildcraft in the letter that I wrote, or not letter, but the note that I wrote. There it is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read this. This is on the source thing. Veterinarian supply nutrients. The picture there is MSM, and then there's another one of source right next to it. But I could take this video down, but it might be a month of Sundays before I'd be able to get back there to redo it. I apologize. Nothing I said directed at women in general, other than the old classic old line of the tree and the forest. And I mean, there's so many millions of copies of that around that, and if that offends anybody, do something about your offense mechanism. If anybody would take offense, they'll steal anything. So if you really want to know how I treat women, you can watch my videos, read the comments, find out that several hundred women read my heart and soul and mind and spirit, and they love them. I could literally name 100 women right now that would vouch for me. If you get to the point of having someone ready to come here or ask for references, they'll be more than happy to help. Many of those women will be in charge if I have anything to say about how this region is to be run. When there are no men of wisdom, biblical knowledge, common sense, and balls, Yahweh has never had a problem with putting Deborahs, Jaels, Boadicias, Elizabeths, or Victorias in charge. Neither will I. Once again, if you'll give me your email, I'll send you a list of wise statements I compiled by my friend Nova, who is my general, quote-unquote, in the northeastern part of the Ozark Plateau. That's all, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but she's got wisdom, and may never amount to anything, but, I just say, she and I wrote on a group for many years, Preparing But Not Afraid, and She had so many good sayings that I collected them. That's what I'm going to go into. All right. My email is dmnds2001@yahoo.com. That's also my PayPal address. Another woman, if she ever gets her family to relocate here, will be my Secretary of Agriculture, Marjorie Wildcraft, one of the most famous preppers in the world. She spent her own money, jumped through all the state hoops through Washington to go to Cuba to personally interview people who were still alive from the Cuban embargo. When Russia fell, we embargoed Cuba. They went from being a normal economy to an oil-deprived, zero oil, virtually overnight. Now, just yesterday, and I wish I would have copied this, but it said that probably the best place to ride out what's coming is Cuba because of their vast wealth in organic food. True story. So, anyway, Marjorie donated $6,000 of her DVDs. It used to be called Backyard Food Production, Grow Your Own Garden. She says that growing your own food is like having a printing press in your basement, and I try to get her to remember to also say it's like having a hospital in your basement. And John Jeevan's book, How to Grow More Vegetables to the Ozark Plateau, she entrusted them to me to distribute. She said that she would be on the eastern edge of your domain, quote unquote. As I see it at present, there are several times more wise women than men, so I accept that fact and I'm willing to be patient until men show up with brains, wisdom, and balls, but I ain't going to hold my breath. I've said to a couple of men, your wife has the wisdom and grace of a queen. When the shit hits the fan, you'll need to heed her wisdom and advice because you have little to none of your own. All right, so back to my deal with Nova. So I was writing on this group, and I, you know, the group's been destroyed because of a troll. The owner of the group allowed this troll to stay on the group, and the only times he has ever written on the group in like 10 years is after I've written and posted something very positive and helpful, and he jumps in and says that I'm a liar, says that I'm untrustworthy, that I'm greedy, that I'm stupid, that I'm demonic, that I'm occultic, and blah, 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 blah. So, whatever, you know. On her head, it's on his head, so I'm not going to worry about it. So anyway, so I reset this. So I want to just read this. It has something in here, a term, a phrase in here. So, collected sayings of Chairwoman Nova. Last words. I often said that back then. You know, I'd write something and then I'd come back to the beginning and say, last word. So I'd written a long article. I came back and this was my summary. It is so refreshing, like a word from on high, to hear someone not echo my words, ideas, and feelings, but to clearly enunciate in their own words the same mind, the same heart. That is, I believe, words and thoughts and feelings from Yahweh's own spirit, mind, and heart. I began by just intending to comment on one of Nova's statements. Then I put that one in quotes. Then I started breaking others up and putting them in quotes also. And then I realized that people need to hear these ideas straight out, very clearly, out loud, in black and white, in plain English, and shouted from the rooftops. Listen and hear, people. Hear and listen. It will save a lot of lives if everyone would just listen to what Nova says here. Forget all the jibber-jabber about all of the mundane topics that even on this group, even on this thread, and we'll go into that Danes later, the word mundane or Danes, the Danes have inherited the earth, people with no imagination. Even on this thread, even on this topic, even on this thread, consume so blasted much of your time and thoughts, and taking away from the critical time needed to accurately and intelligently do quality threat assessment on the dangers and horrors that we face and how to best prepare to meet them. Or failing that, just to shut up and listen to someone who has the ability to do that. For now, I will send this, perhaps later make some comments. Basically, Nova is saying what I have been saying over and over and over again anyway, and my pleas, for the most part, fall on deaf ears. We are in for a world of hurt, people, and that hurt will include you. It will include your family. your loved ones if you are where judgment falls. Yes, the tower that fell on Siloam fell on the just and the unjust, and just so the judgment that is going to fall on this nation will do exactly the same. My question is, why not see that beast that is most assuredly coming down the path and step aside? We are told that is what the wise men will do. Why stand under the tower? Why stand in the path of the oncoming ravaging beast? Why get in a pool with an alligator armed with just a little piece of PVC pipe and a rope? Anyway, why are we so addicted to our comforts and to our worldly pleasures that we will not do what we are commanded so many times, in so many different words, in so many different ways, through so many different prophets, so very clearly to do? We are told to step aside into the cleft of the rock and wait for the indignation of Yahweh to pass by. Now, I'm going to go back to threat assessment. Now, it's interesting to me, one of the reasons why I'm assuming that this Love Matters is a woman is because of the offense I took at what I said about women in general, but more than that, because of the concept of threat assessment. They are and have, and I believe that a couple of 3 people have already subscribed to me. They said they were going to possibly send me people, and I believe that's happened. Now, the reason I would say it's a woman is because most of the, I would say, I don't know, a good portion, I'll say a good portion, I'll try to be accurate here. I would say a lot of her threat, in a family situation, let me just put it that way. As far as families go, most of the threat assessment being done is by women. It's by the wife. It's by the mom. Nobody else has the time. Nobody else has the desire to do so. That's in my experience, and that's been repeated over and over and over again. 2 women, one woman, 2 children, husband, South Dakota, said, just informed her husband. She said, we're moving to the Ozarks. I hope you'll come with us. And our family is moving to the Ozarks. I'm hoping that you will come with us. But we're going. And another couple moved from the East Coast, and it was 100% in both those cases, the women. The women said, we're moving. I hope you come with me, in so many words. Now, if the men, there's a man right now in that situation, and hopefully he will have the balls that those women did. Thus far, he's not been, doing too good at showing them. So, anyway, the idea of threat assessment, and a lot of that's being done. Now, and I'm not saying on YouTube, no, exclusively, not exclusively, but, a large percentage of it, I don't know, 50-50, it doesn't make any difference. 80-20, 20-80 doesn't make any difference. But in families, the husband, in a lot of cases, is the one working, and it's the wife. And I could tell you situation after situation after situation, and probably they're going to die where they're at, or already have died, because some of them are in California. The husband's working, he don't care, he's just busy, he's making money, paying the bills, boo-hoo, wah-wah. Woe is me, and don't give a hoot about the government, and don't think there's anything wrong with anything. So, and like I said, I could go, oh my word, back in '99, we gave a stove basically to a woman in Maine, so she was going to bury it. Whenever her husband went out on trips, she would literally bury stuff in the backyard, and she had quite a stash going. She didn't want to be beaten, and blah blah blah. So anyway, yeah, it's been going on for a long time. So, all right, that's about it. Except for, 14, I'm going to cut it off. I better do that. All right. Thank you. I'll touch base on something later. Thanks. Bye-bye.